Barron Trump had never been a man of many words, but that morning amidst the gray haze of the city, he couldn't shake the feeling that something important was unfolding. It was one of those mornings when everything felt too quiet, too still, and yet the world around him seemed to move faster than ever. He sat at the small outdoor cafe, his black coat blending in with the shadows of the overcast sky. His eyes, hidden behind dark sunglasses, scanned the crowd. There was something in the air, a sense that today would be different. Barron wasn't one to entertain idle thoughts, especially not in public. But today there was a nagging feeling that wouldn't leave him. The city, the people, the world in motion, it all felt like it was rushing towards something he couldn't yet see. And then it happened. Across the street, Barron's sharp eyes caught sight of a young girl. She was struggling, her every step careful and deliberate. A bulky white cast wrapped her leg, and crutches dug into the ground with each movement. She couldn't have been more than 10 or 11, yet there was a certain wisdom in her eyes, a quiet strength that reminded Barron of his own younger years. But as she reached the crosswalk, a tall man appeared, moving with haste, his coat flaring as he walked. Barron, who was accustomed to observing the world around him, could feel the tension in the air. There was something off about the way the man moved, a sort of self-importance that rang louder than the busy street. As he passed the girl, he kicked one of her crutches out from under her. Barron's breath caught in his throat. The sound of the crutch skidding across the pavement seemed to pierce the air, a sharp slap that cut through the noise of the city. The girl wobbled, her body swaying dangerously, and Barron felt his heart race. He didn't hesitate. He stood up in one swift motion and immediately started moving toward her. In that moment, everything slowed down. The city, the noise, the people, it all faded away. It was just Barron and this girl, whose quiet strength had been tested by a world that didn't seem to care. By the time Barron reached her, she had already bent down, trying to pick up the fallen crutch with visible effort. Her small hands trembled, but she didn't let the struggle show. She was determined, despite the pain that must have been shooting through her leg. Barron's voice cut through the stillness. "Hey, are you okay?" His tone was firm but gentle. He didn't ask the question because he thought it was necessary. He asked because something inside him urged him to. The girl looked up, her eyes meeting his for the first time. She nodded, but Barron could see the flicker of uncertainty behind her gaze. "I'm fine," she said quietly, almost as if convincing herself. Barron knelt beside her. The city continued around them, people rushing past as if they hadn't noticed the moment unfolding. But Barron couldn't ignore it. He had seen too many people pass by, too many moments go unnoticed. This time he wouldn't let it slide. He helped her adjust her crutch, his hands steady as he guided it into place. "You're stronger than you know," he said with a soft smile. "Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." For the briefest second, the girl's lips curved into a faint smile. It wasn't much, but Barron knew that he had made a difference, no matter how small. And then, as if on cue, the man who had caused all of this walked past them again, oblivious to the impact of his actions. Barron's eyes narrowed as the man brushed by, not even sparing a glance. His indifference was almost worse than the kick. But Barron didn't respond. He didn't need to. He had already made a choice, and that choice was to stand up for the girl in front of him, even if the world seemed too busy to notice. That wasn't the end of it. Barron knew he couldn't just walk away. He felt a need, something deeper inside, urging him to make sure the story didn't end with just a small act of kindness. The moment he had filmed earlier, the man's callousness, the girl's struggle, wasn't something that could be brushed under the rug. It had to be seen. Barron took the footage from his camera, edited it quickly, and posted it online with the caption, "What kind of city have we become?" Within minutes, the video went viral. It didn't just spread, it exploded. People everywhere shared it, commented on it, and felt something stirred deep inside them. They were outraged, angry. The cruelty of the moment struck a chord with them, and they demanded accountability. People began sharing their own experiences, their own struggles. The hashtag #Stand Up for Kindness trended worldwide, with millions of people sharing their stories of injustice and resilience. But then, a twist. Someone recognized the man in the video, a local businessman, a mid-level executive at one of the city's largest corporations. By morning, the company's HR department was flooded with messages. The man's identity was revealed. and the fallout was immediate. The next day, the man was called into his boss's office. He thought it would be another routine meeting, but the atmosphere in the room was thick with tension. His boss didn't say a word. He simply turned his tablet around, showing him the viral video. The man's face went pale as he watched the footage. He opened his mouth to speak, but his boss cut him off. "I don't want to hear it," the boss said, his voice cold and final. "Pack your things. You're done here." And just like that, the man's career was over, wiped out by a single thoughtless moment. As the world rallied around the video, Barron began to think about the girl again. Emily. What had happened to her after that incident? What was her life like? She deserved more than just the moment of kindness he had shown her. She deserved a future that reflected the strength she had shown. Barron reached out through social media, asking if anyone knew her. It didn't take long before a local reporter contacted him. Emily's story was soon unfolding in the newspapers, and Barron reached out to her family. He set up a meeting. When Barron arrived at Emily's home, he was greeted by a warm, modest apartment. The walls were adorned with colorful drawings, a few toys scattered about, and the faint scent of fresh baked cookies lingered in the air. Emily was sitting on a small sofa, her crutches leaning against the wall, her face lighting up when she saw Barron. "Hi," Barron greeted her, holding a small wrapped box in his hands. "I thought you might need some reinforcements." Emily's eyes widened as she opened the box. Inside were a pair of custom-designed crutches, lightweight, sturdy, and painted in her favorite color, bright purple. "They're beautiful," she exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. Barron smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. "Now you're unstoppable," he said with a grin. But it wasn't just the crutches that made a difference. In the weeks that followed, Barron's video sparked a wave of support from the community. Strangers sent gifts books, toys, even a scholarship fund for Emily's future. People who had seen the video reached out, telling her how strong she was, how her story had touched their hearts. Emily wasn't just the girl who had been kicked anymore. She had become a symbol of resilience, of quiet strength, of the power that one small moment of kindness could have. And in a world that often felt indifferent, she had become a beacon of hope. The world may have forgotten the man who kicked the crutch, but the world would never forget Emily, the girl who chose to stand up, even when the world pushed her down. And Barron? He didn't just witness the event that morning. He became part of something much bigger than himself, a catalyst for change, a reminder that one person can make a difference. His decision to act, to not let the cruelty go unnoticed, had sparked a wave of goodness that rippled through the world. This wasn't just a story about kindness. It was about understanding the power we hold each of us to choose compassion over indifference, action over passivity. Sometimes it's the smallest gestures that change everything. One kick, one crutch, one decision to stand up. That's all it takes. Let's keep the conversation going. Subscribe, share, and drop your thoughts below. Your perspective is valuable and might inspire others.